I'm going to use as an example in here $250,000 in income, okay? This is the goal that we're going to work towards in today's video as we're building out your business plan. So the first thing we have to do, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the calculator here on the screen so you can do this with me and you can see how all this comes together. So it doesn't matter what your goal is, if it's 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, $1 million in income, it doesn't matter. I just want to show you the calculations, okay? So the first thing we have to do is say, okay, if our goal is $250,000, this is a listing-based business plan. Any buyer sale that you get as a result of your business next year, 2022, will just be a cherry on top, all right? So this is a listing-based business plan. So we take the $250,000. That is our goal. We then divide that by our average commission. So let's just say, for the sake of this video as an example, your average commission is $7,000, okay? This means that you have to sell 35 homes. That's the goal, okay? We have to sell 35 houses, and we're gonna come back to that in just a second. In addition to your 12-month goals, you're gonna write down, what are my personal goals? Are you looking to get into shape? I hope that you're prioritizing health and fitness in 2022, okay? Then you wanna walk through, in addition to your business goals, where do you wanna travel? What would you like to purchase? How much money would you like to save, okay? You wanna complete this part of the business blueprint because I'm gonna ask you to review this business plan on a daily basis. All right, so now let's get into the actual blueprint. This is where I'm going to spend the majority of our time today, because this is, I think, where most people have the most questions, number one. Number two, people, if they do set goals, which is great, the other problem is like, well, can I see your plan that outlines exactly what you have to do to accomplish that goal? And that is the part where real estate agents can't, they fall short. They can't show me that part of their plan. After you watch this video and after you go through all the steps in this video, that will no longer be true for you, okay? So we just talked about how many listings do I need to sell in order to achieve my goal. We just did that, okay? It's 35. Now, next step in the blueprint, how many listings do I need to take to achieve my goal? You're not going to sell every single listing you take. Although I know that's the goal, the reality is you're not going to sell every single one, okay? Right now, because of how good of a seller's market we've been in, it's likely that you sell the majority, but I'd rather build a business plan based on worst case scenario. So let's go ahead and use an 80% list to sold ratio, okay? So if we need to sell 35 homes, all we have to do then is divide that by 0.8, okay? And this gives us our number. So we need to take, I'm gonna round up, okay? I want this to be worst case scenarios for you. So in this business blueprint, okay, $250,000 income, $7,000 average commission, we need to sell 35 homes, we need to take 44 listings. Well, the next question on our blueprint then is, how many listings appointments must I go on? How many listing appointments must I go on? Okay, now here's the part of this video that I'm going to add into the plan that's not on this sheet, okay? Here's what I want you to write down. If you are a brand new agent, okay, 2022 is going to be your first full year in real estate, I want you to use a 50% closing ratio, okay? If you are in the business for 3 to 5 years, okay, you can use a 60% close ratio. And if you're in the business for 5 or more years, we can use a 70% close ratio. And if you've been in the business for over 10 years, you can bump that up all the way to 80% close ratio, okay? These are averages, which is fine. If you're better than this, let the blueprint, let the business plan throughout the year prove it. I think that's being very fair to yourself that you don't build your plan on best case scenario, you're building it on worst case scenario. So I'm going to build this business blueprint as a brand new real estate agent. Okay, so I'm going to use what is on the business planning template, which is a 50% close ratio. So if we need to take 40, we said 44, right? So 44 listings is what we need to take. If we have a 50% close ratio, that means we need to go on double the amount of appointments, right? So in this case, we need to go on 88 listing appointments in order to get 44 listing contracts signed. That is a 50% close ratio. Well, the next step then is, how many listing appointments do I need to set? You're not going to go on every single appointment that you set. Sometimes sellers will cancel on you. Sometimes you will cancel on the seller. So in this column, we want to use a 70% met ratio. So let's pull up the calendar or the calculator. We need to go on 88 listing appointments. We divide that by 0.7. This says, okay, got it. So we need 100. We need 125 listing appointments set. Okay. Now I'm going to break all this down for you monthly and into daily goals. So just stay with me. Okay. Now this is the next one on this chart will determine whether or not this entire plan comes to fruition. This section right here is when you hear me say you have to do the work every single day, I'm referring literally to this column in the business blueprint. How many conversations do you have to have in order to set 125 listing appointments? Over the course of a year, how many conversations do you have to have? We're in the sales business, remember. Our job is to have conversations with prospects. If you have a problem with what I just said, please let me know in the comments section so I can help you understand the business that we're in. But for most of you, you've accepted that fact. Okay, a couple things here. On the document, on the template, you see it says 100 contacts to set one appointment. If you are brand new to the business, that is the number I want you to use. If 2022 is going to be your first full year in the business, I want you to use 100 contacts to set one appointment. Okay. If you are in your years 3 to 5, okay, you can back this down to about 50. And for agents that have been in the business for 5 years or more, you can use 25 conversations to set one appointment. Why? Because you have a database. Okay, this whole conversion ratio is based on two things: sales skills and your database maturity. Meaning this: how many people are in your database that you've talked to multiple times about listing their property? If you're a brand new agent, the answer to that question is 0. Okay. If you've been in the business for a couple of years, you probably have a lot of people in your database that you've talked to that are looking to sell their home in the future. Therefore, your ratio will be better. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Any questions you have on this business plan, just put them in the comments so we can have a conversation about it. I'm going to use 100 because we're building this as a brand new agent. Okay. So we know we have to set 125 appointments. And it takes us 100 conversations to set one. So we have to multiply that, okay, by 100 conversations. Obviously that equals 12,500 conversations that we need over the course of a year, okay, over the course of a year. So the next thing on the blueprint is how many hours do I need to prospect, okay? So we use an average of 10 conversations per hour if you're disciplined, if you're focused, okay? If you have shiny object syndrome and you're distracted all the time, you won't even come close. But let's assume for a second that you're absolutely 100% committed to achieving your goals in 2022. So we're going to take the 12,500 and now we're going to then divide that, okay? Because we're looking at, okay, if we're making 10 contacts per hour, we can divide this by 240 working business days, okay? Which is about 52 conversations per day, okay? 52 conversations per day is what you need, okay? So if we take that 52 and then we divide that by an hour, you're gonna see we're gonna get about 5 hours a day, okay? So 5 hours a day, let me clear this out, 5 hours a day, multiply that, let me clear this out. 5 hours a day times 240 working days, you need 1,200 hours of actual work, okay? 1,200 hours of actual work for the year to make $250,000 a year, okay? Now, the question I have for you right now is this. If I wrote you a check now and I put it in your bank account for $250,000, and all you had to do to keep that money till the end of the year was talk to 50 people per day, could you do it? Would you do it? The answer is absolutely yes. Why? Because human beings are more motivated by the fear of loss than we are motivated by what we can gain. And that is a truth. That is why we see so many people coming out of a W-2 job where they maybe worked as a W-2 employee for 5, 10, 15 years. They never lost their job ever because they were scared to lose that salary. They were scared to lose that income. Come into real estate as a 1099 independent contractor and fail out of the business within their first 12 months. Why? Because they weren't given the salary. They were more motivated. They were more motivated by the fear of losing that salary than they were motivated by how much income they can earn in real estate. It's a crazy, crazy phenomenon.